My name is Wesley. I'm one of the chaplains with NAVI in Hawaii. I'll talk a little bit more about myself as we start this presentation. But just to let you know, there were some thoughts that this was going to be more of a bereavement focus or grief focused type of webinar presentation, but it really is not. My role with Hospice Hawaii as a chaplain is more the spiritual care, more helping people find an inner peace, no matter what the circumstances, no matter if they're on hospice and have a loved one there, or they're just going through life right now at this point in time. If you feel that you would need specific bereavement support, we will give you some contact information to our bereavement department. Donna is our bereavement coordinator at the end of this presentation. So with that being said, let me just kind of move forward. When Debbie asked me to do this, initially it was thought it was going to be about grief, but I said, well, I'm not the expert on grief. You know, that's not really my suit where I do my work in. So I thought a little bit, you know, she gave me not too long to come up with a topic. And I thought joy in the holidays, because we all have, we all lose, we try to find it. Sometimes it's a great holiday, other times it can be very challenging. So when I came up with this title, Sustaining Joy in the Holidays, you know, I thought, hey, that's a good focus. We'll move forward in that direction. But as I started putting this together, getting my thoughts, doing the PowerPoint, I thought maybe that's not the right title. Maybe the title should have been Uncovering Your Joy in the Holidays, or maybe even Reigniting Your Joy in the Holidays, because our joy is always there. But sometimes it's buried under life's struggles and life circumstances, not by our own choice, but a lot of times we are living life and things come across our path. What we need to do is find a way to uncover this joy, to clear away all the things that are hiding it, that are burying it, or that are suppressing it. We need to find ways to stoke the fire of our joy. We all like to go camping. Well, I shouldn't say all. A lot of people like to go camping. Everybody, when we go to a camp, we stay overnight, we stay the weekend or however long. One of the great things to do is build a campfire. Everybody loves it. It brings warmth in a cold night. You can cook over it, you make chocolate s'mores, but more importantly, it brings people together. We enjoy the warmth of the fire at night. We enjoy the company. We enjoy sharing stories, laughing with each other. We enjoy the bonding that goes on. And when we're all done with the fun for the night, we go sleep. We just allow the fire to burn itself out. But then in the morning, when we get up and we look at that campfire, which was so brightly burning the night before, all we find is some smoldering ashes. However, if we clear away the ash, we can find that there may be a piece of wood or a little charcoal which still has the spark of the fire from last night still left in it. If we throw on some dry brush or some paper, and the fire begins to ignite itself again. So it is with our joy. It's there, but sometimes we can't find it because it's been covered with other things. It's been covered with life. It's been covered with circumstances, but it is still there. So let's get started in uncovering, reigniting, and sustaining our joy for the holidays. What I'd like to do initially is give you my background and experience. I'd like to let you know about this because many of the thoughts, the ideas, the illustrations that I will present will come from my life and my ministry experiences. I was born and raised in Hilo, country boy at heart. I still love the country. I rather see tall trees than tall buildings. I rather have forests than concrete structures. I rather have little bike paths instead of highways and freeways going through. And I also married a Big Island girl. In Hilo, when I was growing up back in middle school, high school, most stores, especially the mom and pop one, would close on Sundays. We had 4 or 5 TV stations, no cables, so we had to use rabbit ears. If you don't know what rabbit ears, go Google it. It's a challenge to use it. The phones were connected to the wall by this wire. So if I wanted to talk to a girl that I liked, I had to stretch that cord as far as it could go, sometimes reaching the bathroom, closing the door, and then doing my private conversations. It was a slower pace. It was a slower time. There was more time for family, and there was more time for friends. I have now been with Navi in Hawaii as their chaplain for a little over 8 years. I am still learning this job. I'm still growing in this position, still learning and experiencing what it is to deal with people in this time of their life. But prior to this, I worked in the construction industry. I am a certified journeyman plasterer, but that was a long time ago. If you ask me to build your house now, my skills are gone and my body aches a whole lot more. So I will not be able to help you with that. After that, I worked in the hotel industry, starting on the front desk, dealing with people, trying to make their stays in Hawaii a wonderful time. And eventually, before I left there, I was the manager of the accounts receivable department. But for the last 17 or so years before joining Navian, I was on staff as a ministering pastor with 2 different churches, where my long-term career was as a youth pastor. That is still my passion. I took high school students on 4 inner city mission trips to LA and Washington, DC. And we took 1 trip combined with the adults to Western Samoa to serve over there. That's sort of my background. The target group, this is a challenging part when I was asked to do this. We have a wide spectrum of people joining us today, ranging from those who are having a wonderful holiday season with no worries, to those who have just lost a loved one and are experiencing the holidays alone for the first time. Most of the presentation will be slightly slanted toward the second group. However, it is my desire that as I present thoughts and illustrations, you will be able to take them and relate them to your own individual situation, and hopefully, if the joy is not there, to be able to find it. The goal is that you will see that you already have the ability, skills, and resources to find your joy and to enjoy this holiday. But what I will ask you to do is look at this from a new perspective and be willing to engage your will. So with that being said, are you ready to be underwhelmed? Yes, underwhelmed. I am not going to present you clinical data or psychological studies. What I am going to do is present to you, hopefully, practical lifestyle thoughts and options that you will say, I can do that, or I have been doing that. The definition of happiness is it is a byproduct of our surroundings and circumstances. It is an external influence to give you a positive feeling. Joy is internal. It is an everlasting because it is there in times of stress and hardships. We may not see it or feel it, but it is there. This quote from Glory Dai says, joy and happiness are 2 different emotions that are somewhat similar, but are actually very different. Joy is attributed to something very consistent and internal, while happiness tends to be triggered externally. Joy is something to do with our inner nature rather than our outer nature of our human character. Happiness versus joy. On one of our mission trips that I got to take our high school students to, we went to Los Angeles and we did a lot of ministry in Skid Row, where it was legal to actually be homeless. We had this one project that they called City Search. Our leaders gave us individuals a little bit of money to go buy breakfast for ourselves. It was like about $3 each. But what we had to do was go find a homeless person and take them to breakfast also. Our group walked the streets a little bit. This was early in the morning. One of our students saw this African-American guy walking across the street, limping, using just one crutch. They said, hey, let's go get that guy. We went to talk to that guy. He said, you know what? I want breakfast from McDonald's. So he gave us his order. And it was quite a big order. We said, you want to come with us? He said, no, I'm going to stay here. You go get the food and come back to me. So we scurried off to buy him what he wanted. But with the money we had, if we wanted to get him everything and a little bit more, there was not enough money for each one to get a meal. But these kids are great. They said, hey, it doesn't matter. I will share my one sandwich with my partner over here. So we did that. Got back to this gentleman. He was sitting on the sidewalk, leaning against a chain link fence on the sidewalk next to an empty lot, right next to a bus stop where people were getting on and off. We gave him his food. We sat down on the sidewalk also, and he said, let me pray for you. And he prayed a wonderful prayer. Then as we were eating, he started to sing a song of praise to God. There was joy in his voice, and he had a beautiful voice. We were all touched. I was ashamed to call myself a pastor with his faith that he had. He was happy to have a meal. He was happy to have time spent with him by our high school students. There was no bitterness in his tone or attitude. He had an inner peace which overcame his circumstances. His circumstances were not ideal, but his joy overcame this for him. He was grateful because he had something deeper inside of him, providing a different sense of an outlook to what was outside. We all have this inside of us. The blessings of the holidays. We get time off. We get holidays. It's a festive and warm feeling. Most times, most people have a joyous attitude. They love people. And it's about family and friends. The stresses of the holidays. Time pressure, traffic and parking. Have you ever tried to go to the mall a few days before Christmas? It is nuts. Finances. Do I have enough to buy the kind of gift that I want for this special person? I'm not sure if you're like me. I am not good at buying gifts. This freaks me out. I totally stress. I don't know what people like. My solution, gift cards are great, or buy them anything and let them exchange it for what they want. No pressure on me. Changes. People in general don't like change or don't respond to the change well or quickly, whether it's in their own individual routines or it's something bigger in their life. Things change. Things change in life or evolve in life. Not all are good, yet not all are bad. What makes the change good or bad is the way we perceive it, our perception, and how we respond to it, our will. This is a difference between happiness and joy. Having a deep sense of joy helps us to see change in a positive light. It helps us to see new possibilities. Before, Thanksgiving was all about family, the cooking meal. Families would come together in the morning, prepare the family meals. football was very special. Everybody would watch the game together, be cheering against the team that they want. They gather around the dinner table to spend time the whole afternoon and late into the night. Then came Black Friday. Meals were made earlier, you had to eat earlier. I had family members who would leave by about 7 o'clock to go stand in line, wait for 4 or 5 hours at the store just so they could get in to buy something that they want on sale. But now we can do it online, so that changed also. Street decorations. When I was a youngster in Kilo, they would decorate the streets, stringing up lights and holiday designs across the street on lampposts and everything. Waikiki was like this also. The other night, my wife and I were at Target in Ala Moana, and we came down from the third floor onto the parking lot of right across Macy's, and this was about 8, 9 o'clock. I kind of stopped there and I told my wife, there is no Christmas decorations. The light posts that were decorated before had nothing except that one light glowing. Simple things missed make a big difference in how we feel. But what does not change? Holidays are about people. It's about our special relationships. But here's where it gets challenging and sometimes confusing for some people. Maybe you don't get the gift you want, or the football team loses a bowl game. You get over it. You move on, you get something to eat, and on to the next game. But when we're missing a relationship, a loved one, it becomes an emotional and spiritual loss. This leaves a hole in our life and in our heart, and it becomes harder to overcome it. It takes time, it takes planning, it becomes a choice of our will. We have to choose to accept and embrace the change, to change our perspective and not only look at the negative, but look at the blessings of the new. Types of losses we may face, some of them are physical, death of a loved one, a divorce, a physical move. There have been people that have moved from the mainland to here, even though Hawaii is a beautiful place to live, they don't know anyone. Change of job, empty nest, and health. This includes aging. Some of the emotional things, death of a spouse, divorce, change of job, emptiness, and aging. Aging could be physical, and the social aspect of aging. You lose the people, your peer group over here. A lot of these losses are physical, but they can become emotional and spiritual. It takes time, I said. It takes planning. It takes a choice of perception and our will to overcome this. The key element in our losses is loneliness. I believe loneliness is the greatest joy stealer. We may be alone or we may go to a party, but because inside we have that loss, no matter there's people around us laughing and having fun, we feel lonely inside. We feel we don't fit. We feel that everybody is looking at and talking about me. We rather curl up with a blanket and watch a sad movie. Some questions we may ask ourselves. Everybody seems so happy. So, what is wrong with me? The answer, absolutely nothing. You're like everyone else in their circumstances. It's a natural reaction, and there are ways to overcome it. You just have to be willing to reach out and grab it. The big question, how do I find and sustain joy? How do I rely on my joy to overcome my circumstances? With everything that's going on, all the craziness and instability of my life, how do I do this? How do we break through the challenges that are facing me now? may I present a thought? It is all in your past, present, and future. It's embracing the past, it's living in the present, it's looking to the future. It is a combination of all three. If we only live in one aspect, we may be binding ourselves to the challenges of that. Our past can hold us hostage to the good feelings of the past, not allowing us to see the blessings of the present. If we look at the present and we just stay there and say, there's a hole in my life, we never can look to the future and say, where am I going? What can I do? And if we just look to the future and say, when is this feeling going to leave me? We overcome the joy of the past and the blessings of the present. My wife and I, several years back, wanted to see redwoods. So we took a trip up to Northern California. We found this nice town, Fort Bragg, and we found a nice lodge. This is the view outside of the lanai on our lodge. There's a little pathway just below the photo. It's the beginning of McCarricker State Park, and it goes on for miles to the north. It was such a peaceful time. We saw giant redwoods. We walked through the forest. We saw all kinds of things that just gave us a sense of peace, of calmness. This was a beautiful time for us. Not many people, but a clean town, wonderful food. I am not an ice cream eater, but there's this ice cream place, Collins, that they made the best ice cream. I had to make sure I had their ice cream every day. It was wonderful. The sunsets over there were just amazing. This was maybe several hundred yards above where we were staying, north of where we were staying, on that same McCarricker State Park. And we even had special guests come and visit us every day. This is Scrappy. We named him Scrappy because part of his little ear was chewed off. When it was time to leave, I started walking across the parking lot to their front desk. And I got sad. I actually got depressed. I thought this was such a wonderful time. We were here and we may never come back to experience this again. Little tears started coming in my eye. I got to the front desk and they had on their wall this little TV screen that was scrolling through a couple of different slides. One of the slides caught my eye, and it had a saying by this wonderful psychologist, Dr. Seuss. It says, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. I started looking at what we had experienced over there, and the rush of the memories just warmed my soul. I started to say, I'm grateful for what had happened in this moment. And I started looking forward with joy to the future. This is how we connect the past, the present, and the future. The past. Embrace the past. Embrace the memories and the experiences. Let it inspire you. Let the experience lead you to desire more. Let the experience lead you to your joy. Remember the trips you took, what touched you, what inspired you. Remember your adventures. Where did you travel to? The fun you had. Remember the smiles that you see in the picture. Remember the fun and the joy you had. And let that warm your heart and your soul. And for empty nesters, your kids may move on. But hey, in the future, you may have grandkids coming back. You may not want to spoil your kids, but you definitely would want to spoil your grandkids. Embrace the past. Attitude of gratitude. When we live with an attitude of gratitude, we force ourselves to see good things. We change our perspective. We see the experiences and adventure not as a loss, but as life lessons and blessings, and we can be thankful for them. We had people that would say, we heard the saying, I complained about my shoes till I saw a man with no shoes. I complained that I didn't like the food till I saw somebody who hadn't eaten in days. There will always be someone who has more than we do, and there will always be someone who has less than we do. The goal is to be content with whatever we have and in our situation. And when we do this, we will see that our joy resides there. In one of our mission trips, we went to South Central LA. We went to this soup kitchen. It was called the Lord's Kitchen. I love this saying. 50 cents if you have it. Nobody ever gave us 50 cents when we were there. Our group went in there for breakfast time and we prepared the breakfast. Breakfast was toast, oatmeal, milk, coffee, and juice. And that was it. After we prepared the meal, half served or half got their meal and went to sit with our guests. After I served, it was my time to go and find somebody. I saw this couple sitting at a table and I said, okay, I'm going to go and talk to them. My concept was everybody that comes there was pretty much homeless. But when I talked to this couple, they said they had just moved from Mexico a short while ago to live in LA to give their children a better chance for life. They would come and eat here because with the money they saved on food, they could buy their kids school supplies. Talk about being humbled. That couple touched my heart and gave me a different perspective on what I do. The present. Live in the present. This is okay to be self-focused at this time. Live the legacy of your loved one of the past. Live it forward. Keep the legacy alive. Donate to charities. Volunteer at things that you like. Seek something to do because it's the right thing to do. This is an act of your will. And somehow, if you choose to do this, something special will happen. Have you folks seen the movie Up? Wonderful movie. Carl lost his wife, Ellie, and he was sad and depressed and grumpy. Carl was stuck in the past. I was having a hard time leaving the present. But there was one adventure that he and Ellie did not finish. So he decided to do it. So he went on this final adventure. Unfortunately or fortunately, Russell got caught up in this, actually caught up as the house started lifting the adventure that Carl was on. And of course, there was Doug, the talking dog. The goal and dream that Ellie and Carl had was holding Carl back. But when he started going on adventure and something unexpected happened, Russell, the whole purpose for his life, the whole perspective changed. He now had a new purpose for his life. And it all started with him wanting to complete the dream, wanting to live the legacy that Ellie had, to live her legacy in a bigger way. And through the goodness of their relationship, it spurred him on to find something else that was amazing for him out there. Adventures are there for us also. Traditions. Traditions. Keep the old. Go to church or celebration for holidays. Watch the Charlie Brown Christmas special. It's always inspirational. Watch It's a Good Life. I have watched it all, but only in bits and pieces. Maybe I gotta go do that and go and cook a nice family meal. Again, it's a matter of the will. It's not easy, but allow your joy to be a beacon for your life moving forward. It doesn't matter what you do. The key is that you do something. Keep the old, but it's okay to start something new. For about 14 years, my wife and I were working at this church. And on Christmas Eve, we would have 3 Christmas services. My wife would run the first one. The second one, we would start taking, especially the pastor's kids who had to be there from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 1 o'clock in the morning, out for a trip and picnic dinner to watch the city lights or go around City Hall. I would make spam musubis. We'd buy Kentucky Fried Chicken, chill some bottles of sparkling apple cider. We'd sit on the corner right by the state library's lawn. We'd have our dinner, and then we would go across and see all the activities there. It started off with one minivan, and it grew into the last one having 3 vans and another carload of people. It was about the relationship. When my wife and I left this church, we left those relationships behind. It was hard for us. We initially tried to do the same thing with our new church, but it wasn't the same. So we decided we needed to let that go and move on to something new. And right now we're still seeking what that something new is, and maybe doing something different every year is our new tradition, at least for now. Community. We all need community to help support us. Build a team. Eliud Kipchoge was the first person to break the 2-hour marathon mile. He worked with a group of people. There were 41 runners that came alongside of him, setting the pace for him. Kipchoge reached out to the appropriate people to help him with what he wanted to accomplish. Each person would run just a specific short distance in that race, but they were there to encourage him and keep him moving. We all have a wealth of resources around us. We just need to reach out and ask them for help. And we just have to be able to accept their offer of love and support also. Family support. Lilo and Stitch. Lilo had to come to the realization Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. I love this little saying. In Hawaii and Hawaiian culture, the word and concept of Ohana goes beyond the biological family unit. It's embracing and caring for all others. It's accepting and protecting one another. It is giving and receiving. This is what I'm saying I found on the internet. Ohana in a sentence says, my brother is a joke. My sister, she thinks she princess. My mother, super embarrassing. My father thinks he's the best at everything. But it's always good to come home because my Ohana is my home. There was this widow I was talking to a short while ago, and I said about, did you go to your family gathering for Thanksgiving, which she always did? She said no. Her feeling of loss and not wanting to explain that feeling kept her from her Ohana. When we talked about this in light of the meaning of Ohana, she saw it very differently. Ohana says, come just as you are. Come and get refreshed. When you can, you will receive. But when you must, you also can give. Well, let me say that. Give when you can, but receive when you must. This is Ohana. Selected individuals. We all have someone in our life. And when you're with them, you have a sense of peace. You have a sense of comfort, and you just feel safe with them. This is a person who can reignite your joy. Don't hesitate to call them. Don't feel embarrassed to call them. God placed them in your life for just a time like this. And you are probably one of this person to somebody else also. Personal time. Doesn't this guy look relaxed, comfortable, like there's no care in the world? Doesn't this guy look like he found a peaceful place, not only where he is, but in his soul? Yes, this guy is me. And at the ending of our one vacation, the one I talked to you about, we were at this coffee shop, a bookstore coffee shop, in Seaport Village in San Diego, ending of a 2.5 week long trip. My wife decided to go look around the store, and she just told me, just sit and relax. This was a time for me to reflect on all my experience that we have gone through, to let the joy of what we had pour into me at this time and be grateful for what we had. In the business of life, not only during the holiday season, we need to care for ourselves. Give yourself permission to do so. Find a place where your cares disappear, even for just a moment. Find a place where you can connect with your inner joy. And faith. Faith is a complete trust in something or someone. It's a strong belief in God or a doctrine of a religion. Faith is connecting with something bigger than us in our situation or our situation. It's connecting with something which touches and connects the past, the present, and the future. Faith is touching the divine and being touched by the divine. In one of our mission trips, we always start off with a 7-day youth conference. We go from 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. We don't get home till about 10 o'clock at night. At that time, our kids, they go, they shower, they do their journaling, and then we have a debrief time. On the second night of this conference, there was this girl that went with us. She was a wonderful girl, but her family situation was all messed up. She had this dark countenance around her. Her self-esteem was really low. She never thought much of herself. Her parents told her, we don't like each other. We're only here because of you until you graduate. Imagine what this does to a young girl. She got involved in drugs and some other harmful habits. She grew close to our students in our youth ministry and joined us on this mission trip, conference and mission trip. Second night, as I was sitting in the hallway doing my journal, she came and sat next to me. There was something different about her. There was this glow about her. There was a smile on her face. And she told me, Wes, I now know God loves me. Her countenance changed from dark to light. She served with joy the rest of the mission trip, and when we got back to the islands, she found what she was missing. Faith was touching the divine, and the divine touched her. She knew she was special. She found her joy, and no matter what happens to her in life moving forward, she will always know her joy is there. Find your spirituality, and you will find your joy. Look to the future. This is other focus. Some things are planned, like the Angel Tree or the Salvation Army serving someplace. If you love animals, go and serve at the Honolulu Zoo, or just find a community organization that is doing something. As you help others, you will always find you are helping yourself. Be spontaneous. Random acts of kindness. Random acts of kindness. There are times that I have been fortunate enough to be at Starbucks, and I find a first responder there. And I go up, I'm just led to say, you know what, let me pay for this for you. And I go ahead and do that. You can purchase a bag of groceries for a family that you know is less fortunate, and maybe just leave it at their doorstep, not even letting them know that you did it. Pay for someone's order in the car behind you. My car is a silver Nissan Sentra. If you see me behind you, I would be really appreciative if you do pay for myself and my wife, my little meals over there. Let me know that you are, and I'm going to order a whole lot more. Thank you very much. But whatever you do, it will change your perspective. You will always look for someone and something. You will always see that you can make a difference. You will see the needs that you can fill. You will see them all around you. But more importantly, you will see that you have the power to make a difference. Past, present, future. Combine them. Let the past inspire you to live a productive life in the future, to pass it on into the future also. In conclusion, I hope that you have noticed that what I presented was nothing special, that it was something you can do or are already doing. Sometimes we just need a reminder, someone to come alongside of us as an encouragement. The joy is already in you. You just have to release it. I hope you have been encouraged by some of the suggestions presented. I hope your joy would be uncovered, reignited, and most importantly, sustained through the holidays and beyond. And again, if you need specific bereavement support, and everybody does now and then, please contact Donna at our bereavement department. You can contact her at our Navient direct line, 924-9255, or email her at bereavement@Navient Hawaii. And you can always call that Navient number if I can be of specific spiritual support to you.